So it's Danny Flexent here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by 258 head of boxing, Will Harvey. Will, how are you?
I'm doing very well, Danny. Will Harvey, not Freddie Cunningham. But
Yeah, off camera, off camera, thankfully. I did refer to Will as Freddie, even though I've spoken to them both loads, and they don't look anything alike either, but I've got no excuses, hands up. But we're not here to talk about my faux pas, we're here to talk about Anthony Joshua fighting Oleksandr Usyk. Big rematch, Saudi Arabia, Jeddah, of course, not long away now. It's recently been announced that it's going to be on Sky Sports box office, something most people suspected for a while. Why has it taken so long to get to this point?
I understand it's been as frustrating for us as it potentially has been for everybody else. You know, when the deal was initially done to fight in Saudi, the whole event was a buyout. So the Saudi Arabian team took control of everything: sponsorship, undercard, broadcasting rights. So at that point, we really didn't have much say in the matter. So it's then a case of them going to market, speaking to a number of different broadcasters around the world and fielding the best offers, and then eventually accepting the best offer for them. So us and Matchroom really didn't have much say in the matter. As soon as our deal with them was done, it was taken out of our hands, and then it was up to the guys over in Saudi Arabia to go and fill in the blank. So it took them a bit longer than probably expected, and slightly frustrating because I feel like, you know, now the broadcasters announced you can really get into the promotion of the whole event, and all of a sudden we're kind of 4 weeks away. So in an ideal world, maybe it gets done a bit sooner and we have more time to promote it, but it's done now. We've got 4 weeks. The fight sells itself to a certain extent, and it's on a huge platform in Sky Sports box office. So, you know, we're all incredibly excited to just get out there and get stuck in.
Would you have perhaps liked to have seen more 258 talent on the undercard?
Yes. So, which people probably won't know because it never actually got announced, but we had Suleiman Sissoko fighting on the card. He's moving down from 154 to 147. Had a great fight lined up for him against the WBC number 7 at 147. So that was going to get him a good solid ranking. It was a great fight. But unfortunately, his first or second spar, he broke his hand out in San Francisco. So I hope you can hear me through all this, by the way. He broke his hand in his second spar. So he's obviously got to take some time away now, rest up, recover it. So we pulled him off the card. And then we're now in a situation where we're trying to fill some slots that we have. So we're working, hopefully, now that it's on Sky, to get Ben Whittaker on the card. All being well on Saturday, it'll be a quick turnaround. He'll fly straight out there and we'll get him on the undercard. And then we'll look, I'm sure, to potentially get one of our other guys on there as well in the next couple of weeks to be announced.
It's an interesting one with Ben Whittaker for a number of reasons, but one of which is that he's trained by Sugar Hill Stewart, who is, of course, Tyson Fury's trainer, but managed by 258, which is AJ's company. How does that dynamic work?
It is a potentially quite awkward dynamic, but you know what, Sugar's like, I'm sure you've spoken to Sugar a lot and people know a lot about Sugar Hill now. He's the most relaxed, chilled, easygoing character that you could ever wish to meet. So any kind of like loyalties or weird dynamics that could potentially with other trainers, who I'm sure you know, plenty of trainers have got big egos, it's difficult to work in those sort of environments. But with Sugar, he's a professional, you know, through and through. It's not a problem. It hasn't been a problem. And like I said, they will hopefully fly out to Saudi in the next week or so. Sugar will come along and you know, everything will be smooth sailing.
Now, this isn't the first boxing show to take place in the Middle East region or indeed in Jeddah, but there has been some criticism since the announcement, just as there has been for the golf tour that's been over there recently, the rival to the PGA Tour. How do you respond to the critics, especially regarding the sports washing aspect?
Yeah, I understand. Look, any event that goes to Saudi Arabia now, there's always going to be criticism. The way in which we've looked at it, we've obviously been there a couple of years ago, and we saw the impact that had in the region, not just in Saudi Arabia, but in the whole Middle East as a region. The impact that AJ's fight there had in terms of the pickup and the attention and the growth of the sport in that area was significant. We then were discussing about going back there for the rematch, and they told us that there's been a 300% increase in participation in sports across the board, boys and girls, in Saudi Arabia and the wider region. So when you see an impact like that, Anthony at this stage of his career he's earned a lot of money. You know, he's got more money than he'd ever need. He's about now in the final stage of his career, cementing his legacy. And I think when you see numbers and influence like that, it's hard not to try and build on that and to go and achieve more with it. So understandably, there's criticism. There always will be with whatever you do, good or bad. But really, that was something that we really thought would be worthwhile, like revisiting and continue to try and build on an increasing participation and growth of the sport globally and in the region of the Middle East and Saudi Arabia.
If you guys hadn't gone there with the initial AJ fight in Saudi Arabia, do you think we'd have seen a female fight on the undercard this time around? Because that's a historic development.
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. And that's something also that we're really, really proud to have. You know, we've got a long history with Ramla. We've worked with her closely for a number of years, and it's so great that her and the lady that she is and the story that she's got is going to be the first female in history to fight in Saudi Arabia. And I think had we not gone there 2 years ago, like you say, there wouldn't be a chance in hell that she would be fighting on that card. I think the fact that we were there and the success that it had around the world has really helped the team in Saudi Arabia open up their eyes and be more willing to get involved with things like this, which traditionally they might not have done ever. So I think that's another example of us going to that region is helping move it in the right direction and move it into a more positive place. And like I said, to have Ramla fighting in Saudi as the first female ever to do so is something that's really special for us professionally and personally. So like, I'm most excited about that, probably more than anything else. So yeah, it's great. It's fantastic.
Now, we know AJ signed an exclusive broadcasting deal with DAZN not too long ago. We also know that Skills Challenge Entertainment bought the UK TV rights for this fight to do with... we also know that Skills Challenge Entertainment bought the TV rights for this fight. Who had to have an awkward conversation with DAZN about that?
It definitely wasn't me. If there's going to be anyone, probably then Freddie is the ball guy that has to go into bat for us. But
you're not Freddie?
I know, surprisingly not. I think I'm a bit better looking than Freddie, to be honest.
Oh, much. Sorry, Freddie.
No, do you know what? Like I said to you at the start, once our deal was arranged with the team in Saudi Arabia, it's really up to them to then go out and do all of the deals. So those conversations, like I said, they go to market like you would in any other situation. They have conversations with Sky. They have conversations with DAZN. Both parties put in bids, and Sky's was the one that was right for the guys in Saudi Arabia. So at that point, really, we don't have any conversations to be had. It's something that's dealt with between those parties.
Now, just like
so no awkward conversation really, which is for once quite nice.
Now, just like AJ himself, you won't want to contemplate a second successive defeat for him, but we're allowed to be objective. If he does fall to Usyk, and no shame in that, presumably there's still plenty of big fights left out there for him. It wouldn't be the end.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, I've just as a side note, I've never seen AJ look actually so confident and so determined in training. I think there may be a period, over the last year to 18 months where maybe that hunger wasn't exactly the same, but he's more determined and focused than I've ever seen him now. Obviously, anything can happen. I understand that. But if it wasn't to go the way that he wanted to, I still believe there's massive fights for AJ to have. The Tyson Fury fight, win, lose or draw, will always sell incredibly well. It's always going to be a fight that the British public more than anyone, but the world of boxing is going to want to see. So I believe that fight is still there for him. You've got the Dillian White rematch, which would be a massive fight. You could have the Andy Ruiz fight. You know, there's a number of fights out there. If it wasn't to go AJ's way, there would be huge fights for AJ to take part in. But like I said, at this stage of his career, it's about legacy. It's not about money. You know, you could offer him 10 times more money to fight a guy that's ranked outside the top 10 and he wouldn't be interested. So whatever happens, he's not going to be motivated by money to get back in the ring. It's going to be the right fight for his legacy.
Brilliant. Will Harvey, definitely not Freddie Cunningham. Really appreciate your time.
Cheers, mate.